What is up, my friends? It is Tuesday night. You are very welcome along to tonight's Late Night Agenda, where, of course, we're going to be discussing the growing concern around Arne Slot's statements that are becoming more and more ludicrous as each day goes by. We're going to give you some insight into what may happen. We're going to talk about the game against Karabakh tomorrow night, of course. We're going to give you some words from Jeremy Frimpong. We're going to, of course, run through some more stats for you. I hope you all seen the giveaway. We're going to be running that, as we promised, right throughout the year. Every month we'll have a new giveaway with thanks to our friends at the Collector's Corner. So do make sure that you're signed up to the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp by scanning the QR code. All the details will be in there each and every month for you. And as well as that, our friends at the Collector's Corner have given us a 20% off code for all of you guys to use as well. Just use Anfield Agenda 1, but you'll see all that when you go into the WhatsApp. On the first prize that we're giving away for January, so very quick end to the month, we're going to be giving away that signed and framed Steven Gerrard shirt, and you can enter it from absolutely anywhere in the world. Our friends at the Collector's Corner will make sure it gets to you nice and safe. Next month, well, we don't want to tell you yet what we have, but we've got another great giveaway lined up, and there will be one each and every month throughout 2026. So even when things are a little bit grim on the pitch at the minute, we're looking to work with our friends at the Collector's Corner to make it a little bit better for somebody out there. Right, loads to go through tonight. And we started off with a poll asking, basically, do you think Slot is making some strange statements lately? Because I think he's starting to lose his grip on reality from a footballing perspective. The statements are becoming more and more ludicrous. They're all becoming more and more delusional as well. And I really just feel like he's on a different planet to the rest of us when it comes to where we're at as a football club. So I'm going to talk through that tonight, give you some of the statements to let you know exactly why we've come to the conclusion that we have. We're going to talk about what others are saying. We're going to talk about what we've heard regarding his future, because let me be really clear on this. He is not going to be Liverpool's manager for much longer. I know that they're briefing, the support is there, but ultimately that's again just nonsense. The support isn't there. They are already looking around. They don't have the backing of the manager for the future. They are trying to save their own skin to some extent, and we're going to just be honest and blunt about it. What I'm hearing is that the manager is going to be gone. When that will be, I can't tell you. But worst case scenario, it's the summer, but I don't even think he's going to last that long because, well, he's coming out with stuff that just doesn't make sense. I'll give you an example of that, right? So, Arne Slot said this as part of his press conference comments. And again, you can look this up. I'm not making this up. Arne Slot said, again, this is not going to be a popular opinion, what I tell you now. Maybe the reason we won the league last season is because we played Paris Saint-Germain. We have had a week to prepare for league games after getting knocked out of the Champions League. So Arne thinks that the reason that perhaps we won the league was because we got knocked out of the Champions League by Paris Saint-Germain, and that's a good thing because he had a week to prepare. Only that doesn't tally with reality because, as Simon Brundish pointed out, we needed 7 points to win the league from the last 10 games after PSG. So it had absolutely no bearing whatsoever, Arne, on us winning the league. All it did, mate, was show you up for being a fucking clown. So that statement is beyond comprehension to anybody who has a rational mind. He thinks getting knocked out of the Champions League is what helped us to win the league, even though we needed 7 points from a possible 30 available. He is absolutely lost his grip on what is reality. We'll give you some more of his crazy statements because today was just like a what's what of Arne Slot nonsense. He said on negativity, it's going to be really difficult to quiet the outside noise with the position we're in. He keeps talking about outside noise. Virgil loves to throw around this phrase as well. Outside noise isn't outside when it's inside your own fan base, Arne. You either want the fans with you or you don't. Discussing the fans and talking about them as outside noise just because it doesn't suit you right now and because the outside noise is a negative one doesn't mean it's going to go away. This is the type of stuff that I've been saying that distances the manager from the fans. These type of ill-conceived, ridiculous statements are what is stopping any bond from being there. He said it's going to be really difficult to quiet the outside noise with the position we're in. Even if we win a few games, every loss, the noise will come back. It's impossible to shut down the noise at a club like this if you're not competing to win the league. Did I or did I not say numerous times over the last couple of months that once this stuff starts around a manager, it isn't going to go away? Once it finds its way inside Anfield, it isn't going to go away. The manager himself is now admitting that. So, again, why are we all supposed to believe that this man's future is going to be at the club? The two boys upstairs, Hughes and Edwards, need to grow a pair, get out from the shadows and do their fucking jobs. Because this man has lost the grip on reality from a footballing perspective. He said, and I quote, "In between the boxes, we're a very, very, very good team in between the boxes." Now, does anybody remember the piece we discussed yesterday from Jamie Carragher on Monday Night Football, where he talked about that in between the box space, where 74 yards, two Bournemouth players carried the ball before a Liverpool player challenged them. That was in between the boxes. One box we were attacking with all of our players. The other box had all of our players defending. Nothing in the middle. But we're very, very, very good team in between the boxes. We bring the ball out and get to the box. So many times at Bournemouth, we were in a position where I wanted us to be. But bringing it from promising position to finishing it off, we have to improve. In the other box, too many times they arrive and they get a chance. Complete disbalance. Very bad cocktail we're having. If you can improve in both boxes, we can still do something very special. If we can improve in one box, it can be a better season. I have a box for you, Arna. Open up this box and it says, "You're fucking fired," which is what should be happening. Honestly, anybody who wants to support this man with statements like that is beyond help, as far as I'm concerned. Because what he is doing basically is sticking, again, two fingers up to the fan base. Outside noise. Are you for real? It isn't outside noise. It's the supporters of the football club you are failing to manage correctly to discuss it as outside noise. Absolute clown. Right, I'm going to get into a few more comments in a second, but I've got some more of the wonderful, wonderful press conference quotes from Arne Slot. On the squad, this is what Arne had to say. "Even if you reconsider that you come to a different decision, can we change it? Can we make the squad bigger with the money we have?" Now it's a money issue, folks. He's moaning about money now. "We are one or two players short compared to last season. Yes, and you add 3 long-term injuries. It's a lot." Well, let's discuss these long-term injuries, shall we? One of them is to a young centre-back, and we don't know how much minutes he was going to get. The other is to who was probably your backup right-back. And then you've got Isak, who's out with a fractured leg. So I'll give him the Isak one. But he's banging on about it as if he didn't want the small squad. You told us you wanted the small squad, Arne. What are you moaning about now? You told us and everybody to be prepared for Liverpool to challenge on all fronts. He goes on to say, "This won't be a popular thing for me to say, but maybe the reason we won the league last season is that we had to play PSG in the last 16. He thinks getting knocked out of the Champions League in the last 16 was a good thing. That's your manager telling you with a straight face that getting knocked out of the Champions League was a good thing. Because he needed to get 7 points from 30 to win the league. And we might not have done that from 10 games. Get 7 points. If Paris Saint-Germain hadn't knocked us out of the Champions League. You know the Paris Saint-Germain that he spent weeks rimming before the game. Talking about how much he loves their style. Talking about how they are the epitome of footballing excellence. He gave them a rim job and then moans about it and tries to say it was a good thing. I didn't feel like it was a motherfucking good thing, Arne, watching us get knocked out of the Champions League. Was that also the reason why you lost the League Cup final to Newcastle? Was that to do with the Champions League as well? Or was that to do with you, again, just being out-coached? This man is absolutely beyond help. I came in last night and I left the stream and you've seen me. You've seen how down I was. Today, when I've seen these statements, I feel a lot better about life. Because now I know it's clear that he has no future. He's getting to the point now where he is basically insulting everybody's intelligence. Trying to tell us that black is white. That good is bad. He's absolutely away with the fairies. Arsenal had a double programme and dropped a few points in that time Every manager is aware the bigger squad, the better chance you have to cope with the games. But even today, I had to disappoint some players as they're not playing. Which one is it? The bigger the squad, the better the chance you have. But yet he said, I had to disappoint some players today to tell them they're not playing. So you've too big a squad then? Is that what you're saying? Or no? This man, honestly, I'm beyond even trying to rationalise it now. I'm beyond holding back. There is, believe it or not, and you're probably going to laugh at this, I have intentionally been biting my tongue about Arne. Because I hate it. I hate the fact that I have to come on here and belittle the head coach of Liverpool. I hate it. Nothing makes me feel as grubby as that. Because I'm so used to that relationship being solid. The coach, the fans, the players. This is Roy Hodgson era stuff. But not with a Roy Hodgson era squad. And he's still underperforming. If he had an ounce of integrity, he'd quit. Because he knows he's not up to the job. How many more statements do you have to see? How many more? To anyone that defends this clown, he's basically calling you outside noise. You, a fan, outside noise. What about the inside noise? Well, he's already delusional about that. Because remember, he heard the boos. First he denied them. Then he said, well, those people probably weren't home and realised that they were a little bit over the top. Nope, it's going to get worse, Arne. It's going to get worse. Because Anfield is only starting to turn now. And it isn't going to get better. You fucked up the easy run. You haven't won a league game in 2026. You've won 5 since September. You are out of your depth. You know it. Stop pointing the finger of blame elsewhere. You are the problem. You are the failure. Though you and the 2 fucking dweebs hiding in the shadows above you, who won't front up or face or make a decision. Out of what? Hubris? That you failed? Nomad said, I can't believe what I'm hearing from Arne. He's in complete denial. He's lost it. Lots of love to yourself and Connor. He has absolutely lost it. Like, this is the man we're supposed to believe can save the season when he won't even acknowledge reality. He's so far gone now. It is the type of stuff where there are going to be memes of these statements in the future. That's how bad this shit is getting. Slot is boiling my blood in statements. Get him out, please, said Red Woman 0411. Thank you. Appreciate you. And look, again, none of us take any pleasure in this. Because I don't want to be on here talking about a manager underperforming and not being given the sack yet. It's the furthest thing I want. Can I order from the Collector's Corner to Bulgaria? Yes, I believe so. Just go onto the site, mate, and they'll put in, when you go through the process, I know this because I've ordered quite a bit from them. When you're going through the process, it will ask you for your address, and then it will give you an approximate shipping cost. But don't forget to use our Anfield Agenda 1 discount to get yourself 20% off as well. Some of the stuff he's come out with is a joke, said Luke. He clearly has no connection to the fans and, frankly, no love for the actual club. Just a job to him. Bobby said, Slot making me feel bad for laughing at Arteta. It is... I can't believe it, mate. I truly can't believe it. Like, when those comments were sent to me today, I had to check that they weren't a wind-up. Because I couldn't believe that somebody actually said those things. Like, you know, there's parody accounts on Twitter and other social media platforms. I thought it would come from one of them. And then Connor said, no, he said that. That's a genuine transcript from his presser. He's away. He's absolutely gone Lulu. Hey, Craig, I've no connection with Slot as our manager at all. Every time he's talking on Sky, I turned it off. Last week, blaming the wind. Enough is enough. James, even, myself and Connor were talking about this earlier on. I can't listen to him. And I'm not being over the top to saying that. I literally cannot listen to him talk anymore. I have to read transcripts of it. Because if I listen to him, I want to punch the wall. That's how far removed I am from any type of connection with the coach right now. And I'm not saying that everybody is the same as me. You know, I only ever claim to speak for me on here. But I cannot listen to him anymore, let alone look at him on the sideline as he gesticulates towards I don't know what, because the players aren't listening. Sonder says, Jeremy Jacquet, future superstar, Craig, we need. Well, apparently, we're in that conversation, but it'll be a summer move. There was a little bit on that Jacquet stuff earlier on. Where was it? Fabrizio Romano said Liverpool have Jacquet high on their shortlist and they're in a battle with Chelsea and Bayern, and Ron want to keep him in this window, but they would be open to selling him now for the summer. Look, all of this stuff with Slot, and I feel like we do talk about the manager a lot, it takes away as well from the other failures, because he isn't alone in this. And he will be the scapegoat, and he will be the one that's fired, and he will be the one that's held accountable. But make no mistake, Messrs. Hughes and Edwards have a lot to answer for. A lot. And again, their snidey little briefings to their snidey little friends about them fully backing the manager is absolute delusion. It's not true. There is no full backing of the manager. If they had any trust and faith in the manager, they would have followed through with the contract extension that they were talking about at the start of the season. But they won't do that because they know what's happening. They know, they can see it, they can sense it, they can hear it. It is only going to get worse. So the question is, for FSG, for Hughes, for Edwards, how bad do you want it to get? How bad do you want your brand damaged? How toxic do you want fan behaviour to become? Because that's all that's going to happen. The manager himself came out and told us, once this starts, it's very difficult to wrestle it back. And it's only going to get worse. Those smattering of boos, and I keep coming back to that, because for Liverpool fans to get to that point inside Anfield, where even a handful are booing, that is bad. Bad, bad, bad. That is not the way Liverpool fans act. Liverpool fans are incredibly respectful of a head coach. But that has to be a two-way street. And this man is showing us fuck all respect. He is talking about Paris Saint-Germain as if he goes home every night, slips into his Luis Enrique onesie and belts one out as the 4-3-3 system. He probably watches last season's Champions League final just as he's about to get to his vinegar strokes. That way I think I won't get in trouble with younger viewers. I sat there today and had a call with Connor. It was about 40 minutes long. And during the call, I said on a couple of occasions, I started to question my own sanity around this. Truly. I started to ask, have I just gone so far over here that I'm now delusional? That I'm coming out with stuff that just doesn't add up and make sense? And I went back and I thought and I thought and I thought. And he said to me, do you know what, Craig? I actually thought the same thing. And Connor is probably the calmest, most rational human being I know. And if he's saying that he's questioning his own sanity, then I can only imagine how everybody else is feeling. Because I'm absolutely sick to death of everything about this lad. From his partying with Wayne Lineker, which in itself should be enough to get sacked. From his double speak about 2 league titles in 5 years when it suits him, 2 league titles in 30 years when he wants to have a dig at the club. To call in the fans outside noise. All of it is just absolute bullshit. And it isn't going to go away. Hughes and Edwards are going to be outgunned on this one. Because there is a lot more Liverpool fans who are going to speak up. I've been in contact with other fan outlets, other fan platforms. Everybody's on the same page. This manager ain't it. This manager cannot rescue this situation. So how bad do you want it to get? Because it's only going in one direction. Grab yourself a pair of balls and act. I was hoping tomorrow will be his last game. Eddie, there's absolutely zero chance that we don't get a result tomorrow. Like, look at the odds the bookies are given for them to be victorious. Like, it ain't happening. Tomorrow is as much of a gimme as you can expect. But here's the thing. Let's not get sucked into it. Because tomorrow we're playing somebody that when those Champions League fixtures came out, every single one of us looked at it and thought, that's a gimme. That's a handy, nice little one to end it. Let's be honest. Fair play to Karabakh. I mean, sincerely. Azerbaijani side doing really well, qualifying for the Champions League. They deserve the credit, but it should be a handy one for us. The ones that I'm worried about personally are the ones against Newcastle and Man City that are coming up. Because I don't think we're prepared for them. We look physically out on our feet on the pitch. We look like a badly coached team. And every excuse in the sun as to why nobody can seemingly play 90 minutes. Something's wrong here. The conditioning doesn't look right. You could drive a bus through the midfield. It's shocking. So when did the Chuckle brothers decide to sack him? This is the problem, Stevie boy. This is a big part of the problem is these two dweebs that are running the club. And if the word dweeb offends anybody, I'm sorry, but it's not an offensive word. I think it's perfectly apt for this situation. So, the two boys who hide behind the laptops and don't front up to face anything or answer anything except when they want to brief their friendly journalists, ultimately, they're going to be getting some pressure from above because FSG know this isn't good enough. And Arne keeps talking about money. Money's his new favourite thing now. If it isn't low block, it's money. Money. He contradicts himself on squad size. He contradicts himself on what was good and what wasn't. The man just keeps coming out with one stupid comment after another. So the two lads need to take some ownership because this ain't going away. Team Talk report that Liverpool are weighing up a shock move to bring Steven Gerrard back as interim manager should they decide to dismiss under-fire coach Arne Slot. So they go on to say the Dutch manager who impressed in his debut season is now fighting to save his job as Liverpool endure one of the most disappointing title defences in Premier League history. There's one word missing there. Again. That's the word that was missing. Because the last time our title defence was appalling, but we didn't have record-breaking transfer fees. We didn't have Isak brought in. We didn't have Ekitike brought in. We didn't have Wirtz brought in. This man is now talking about us as being piss poor. And talking about, well, we made 300 million in sales. It's not helping your situation, Arne. We're a centre-back short. We should have had one in at the start of the window. We haven't. So the Chuckle brothers, as Stevie Boy calls them, they're going to be coming in for it. But again, here's the thing. How much of a fuck do they give? Because the industry thinks of these guys as geniuses. And it's because of that mystique, that mystery, especially when it comes to Edwards. But what are they doing to save the club, to stop the rot that is happening right now? Because why do we all have to wait for the season to get to the point where it's done? Where we've lost out in the Champions League, where we're out of the competition before you act? Is it just because we want to be the nice guys? Because that is ridiculous to the extreme. There's nothing wrong with having accountability. Nothing. But please stop sticking your fingers in your ears or thinking that you can just brief your way through this to your friendly journos. Because every one of them is getting rinsed. Everyone. Because nobody left. Because nobody can defend what they're seeing. They have taken a situation of extreme optimism and pissed all over it over the course of 6 months. And still haven't got the backbone or the self-awareness to admit they made a mistake and to admit that he needs to go. These are the people that are supposed to remove the emotion, remember, from the decision-making process. Well, you show me how this, statistically, makes any sense keeping him on board. How bad do you want it to get? Stop writing off seasons. Stop treating fans like idiots. And as somebody in the chat said, for the love of God, please stop gaslighting us. Because divide and conquer ain't going to fucking work. Liverpool fans are on the same page on this one. What is Slot supposed to do with all the injuries? Spend too much in the summer, spend in January. Sometimes that's sport. Slot as a scapegoat. All the injuries. Can we talk about this all the injuries narrative, which is complete bollocks? We're not even in the top 5, to my understanding, for injuries this season suffered. We haven't had an injury to either of our first choice centre-backs. We still have Ekitike. The same midfield is there. These injuries to what? Bradley, who was probably going to be fighting it out or deputising. So he's out, fair enough. Leone, the 19-year-old, who we didn't even know how many minutes he was going to get. And Isak. They're the big injuries. So where's the crisis that deserves him to be cut some slack? There is no excuse. One minute he wants a small squad, then he moans about injuries. 1 minute we're a squad fit to compete across all competitions, then he's talking about throwing away competitions. Imagine trying to look a fan base in the eye and say that because we got knocked out of the Champions League by Paris Saint-Germain, that's what helped us win the league. Even though the fact of the matter is, we needed 7 points from 30. So 7 points from 10 games after Paris Saint-Germain to win the league. My Akon said, hey Craig, big fan. Do you think Mo was talking for the whole team when he did his interview? Again, I'd have to speculate. I don't know. You know, I think the way I'd ask that is, do you think some people probably agreed with what he said or the points he was making? Because there was one of the journalists covering football. It wasn't one that covered our club, I think, but somebody said something like, and maybe it was Neville, I can't remember. Somebody said something like, he's not going to sit there and watch an inferior Cody Gakpo getting games every week and sit on the bench. And he's not wrong. But the problem for us is they've both been nowhere near good enough this season. Like, again, people are trying to make excuses for a coach. Did he once say before the season started that his squad wasn't ready? Did he once say that he didn't have enough? Did he once say that we weren't able to go across all competitions? He never said any of it. So why is he doing it now? Revisionism is all he has. And even his own revisionism doesn't tally with reality. Sonder said he has the backing of the board in the media till the day he's sacked. They won't say anything else. Slot has lost. He's no idea. He's done. I'll say it. He doesn't have the backing of the board. He absolutely does not. He is a dead man walking with regards to the job. He knows that. You know that. I know that. All he's trying to do now is save his own arse. And make it look like something was out of his control for the failure this season. How many different formations? How many different lineups? How many different styles? How many different excuses? We can't think of a game we played well in for the whole game, all season. He threw away the League Cup to get 3 points against Villa. And now we're 10 points behind them in third. Oh, come on, lads. Don't be coming in trying to wind me up. The man has no excuses. And injuries certainly aren't. Like I've said, others have suffered far more. We've got teams above us who played in the Club World Cup who didn't get a break. And we're hearing about our injuries. Well, when Manchester City had injuries, they went out and spent money to fix the problem. Arsenal had a bigger net spend than us. So the issue is just all of his own making. That and, of course, those above him. Because the squad is hollow. The squad is absolutely hollow. But again, that wasn't the narrative. But what's the fix? Because if the squad's hollow, the word rebuild comes in. And when the word rebuild comes in, that's a free-for-all for the excuses if the failures continue. So let's say he was given another year and backed in the summer. When it doesn't work at the start of next season, and when things start falling apart again, the excuse will be, well, too many changes. The players are still getting to know each other. We're ignoring that it's been the same midfield that he had last year. It's like he's been given absolute top-notch, top-quality players, and he's made us worse. Like, just boil it down to that. He's been given top-notch, quality footballers, and he's made us worse. Much, much worse. And boring on top of it. Mark Harding said, apparently FSG wanted Alonso before Slot took over. Edwards said he insisted on Slot. FSG have been in touch with Alonso. Edwards or Hughes could be out with Slot. So there was something, and I'm kind of only thinking about this in real time as you mentioned it. But there's been a few pieces linking Edwards with other roles over the last few months. You know, big roles in Saudi Arabia and a few others. I think he was linked with the Ajax technical director's role at one point or something like that as well. So I don't know what their long-term futures are. But again, you've got to ask, who is making the long-term decisions for the football club? Because all these guys are out of contract in 18 months. The three of their contracts are all up at the same time. Hughes, Slot, Edwards. So where is the balance for the future? Who is looking out for us? And are FSG really giving us the brightest and best? I don't know. But there's not one part of me thinks that they're happy with this. They couldn't be. So I keep coming down to one thing in my head. Do I blame Hughes and Edwards or do I blame FSG? Like the Slot stuff we've talked about and will talk about, but above his head, where more blame lies, should that be aimed at the owners or Hughes and Edwards? Because I keep talking about this conversation I had with David Lynch a long time ago. And David said that they were empowered to make decisions. And I would argue that it was FSG that made the decisions ultimately. So, and again, I don't mean to bring up David Lynch's name, and I'm not trying to do so in a negative way, but I'm just trying to give you an example of the conversations that we were having a very long time ago about who actually does make these decisions. Who runs the club? How much leeway is given to Hughes and Edwards to make these big decisions that have impact and long-term effects on the club? The whole point is somebody's supposed to be there looking for the longer term. And the longer term doesn't mean that we can keep writing off seasons. That you win one thing and then fall away. Because another one of Arna's brilliant comments was that this club has won a league title and a league cup in the past, I think he said 5 years or something. I can't remember the exact quote. I don't have it to hand. He said, we want to be competitive in every competition. That's always the aim. But the reality is, the last 3 years, we've won one Premier League and one League Cup. He's now fucking belittling the club. Like, honestly. We want to be competitive in every competition. That's always the aim. But the reality is, in the last 3 years, we've won one Premier League and one League Cup. He said that. Does he forget he lost the League Cup final last year as well? Or was that also a good thing because it helped us get those 7 points we needed in the league? He said, whether things are acceptable, I have my opinion, but I'm not going to share that. The outside world will have its opinion. A lot has been said about the 450 million, but people tend to forget the 300 million we brought in. I have my opinions on what is acceptable, but I'll not share that. But we didn't bring in 300 million, because that would have encountered the 35 million for Harvey Elliott, which didn't come in. I think in closer was 220, something like that. But either way, it's just bullshit. If you have an opinion, say it, or shut the fuck up. I have an opinion, but I'm not going to say it. I have lots of things that I won't say out loud, Arna. Not many of them are nice, though. Totally Not Wellington said, and let me check back in on our poll, by the way. We asked, do you think Slot is making some strange statements lately? We're heading towards 3,000, so we'll let the vote carry on a few minutes longer and then we'll check back in. Just want to remind everybody as well about this. Right now we have a giveaway where you can win a signed Steven Gerrard frame shirt completely free. Scan the QR code below or use the link in the description for further details. We will be giving away one prize every month to a member of the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp with thanks to our friends at the Collector's Corner. And not only that, but if you like anything on the site and want to treat yourself, you can get 20% off with our code Anfield Agenda 1. You'll see that when you click on the link. But again, thank you so much to our friends at the Collector's Corner. We'll be closing the competition this month on the 31st of January, but we will have one competition every month throughout 2026. And a huge thank you to our friends at the Collector's Corner with the support that they've given us for this to make it possible. We wanted to give something back to our audience. We always do, because you guys put us where we are. We work for you, and we want to make sure that you always have something at least to aim for, to look forward to, something possible. Because right now things are fucking bleak. Things are bleak. Craig, is there free shipping to the US? I don't own the site, mate. It's not my website. If you go on, try to buy something, put it into your basket, you'll figure it out. If you're talking about the prize, anybody that wins the prize, of course, the delivery is included. If there's taxes and stuff on it owed, that's a different conversation. But yes, any prize we give away, of course, we're going to cover the cost to make sure that whoever wins the item gets it delivered to them, and we'll cover that delivery cost outside of course, the old taxes that are a government thing that are beyond our control. But, you know, I don't know the ins and outs of everyone's website. You'll have to check in with them for that one. But they ship everywhere in the world that I'm aware of, so I don't know if there's anyone. And certainly there's no exclusions to who can enter our giveaway. That much I can say to you for certain, my friend. Totally Not Wellington said, "Hey Craig, I'd say I hope you're well, but that's a stupid question with how the club operates. We have literally no centre-backs, yet we are backing slot madness." Well, you've said it all, bro. So just in case you aren't aware, actually, I should probably cover the centre-back thing, because there has been a little bit of actual news today as well. So on the centre-back situation, Arne Slot said, "I've spoken to Ibu, and we know he's having a hard time. I'm hoping he'll be back soon, but not for tomorrow." Of course, completely understandable. And again, we send our love to the Canade family. And Joe Gomez won't be available either. So, you know, neither of those two gents will be available. So we have one centre-back and probably Wataru Endo to play tomorrow. That's your football club that doesn't need any strengthening in this window, according to the people running the club. We can go on and try to compete to win things, but we don't need any more defenders. Despite the fact that we're running out of players. Wonder why that might be. Because, again, it's either we don't have the money or you don't believe in the project. But either way, for us fans, it's absolutely unacceptable. LFC Josh, Craig, love your streams, best part of my day. Thank you, bro. I'm not going to lie though, Josh. You know, it's difficult at times like this. It's difficult because I'm all stressed out, as are so many of you guys. And I'm coming on to try to, at one point, have a bit of fun with my community. But at the same time, ram home quite how serious a situation this is becoming. Because there's nothing worse than feeling like you're being gaslit. And that's a statement that I've seen so many times in the comments already. It feels like right now, and again, I'm only talking from my perspective, like Arne Slot and Hughes and Edwards are basically giving us this. That's what it feels like. For me. It's like, fans are outside noise. What's inside noise then? The dressing room? Because they're not listening to you, Arne. Remember when you said put the ball out and Alisson went, nope. Remember that 6 minutes? I do. So, would you not start listening to the outside noise? Because what you're going to hear is that they don't think you're good enough for the job at the minute, mate. And that they're not happy with the performances or the excuses or the throwing under the bus of players or telling players like Calvin Ramsey basically they're not good enough by saying I have better options. He's a Liverpool player, mate. He's one of your players. You know the youngsters you're supposed to be bringing through. It's... yeah. Look, I'm well aware there are people who are going to say it's not all on Arna. And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But in order for things to start getting better, the first thing that will have to happen is Slot has to go. Then the conversations can be had about the fallout, who's to blame, what should have happened, where the money is or where it is not, who's misleading who. All of that stuff can be dealt with. But we've got to stop the rot on the pitch first, because that's what will actually save the season. Not hypotheticals. Just do your fucking job and make the difficult decisions that you're paid to make. Doing nothing isn't being brave when it's clearly the wrong decision. Do your jobs. Do your jobs or sit back and watch as Anfield turns toxic. Nobody wants it to get to that point. But don't be making the mistake of thinking this is social media fans, this is accounts that you think are toxic. This is the majority of Liverpool's fans. How bad do you want it to get? Act. Save the season while it's still possible. Because I don't want to be sitting here in the summer talking about the fact that we have no money because we didn't qualify for the Champions League. Other players may have to move on because we don't have the money for the Champions League. Aren't I be fucking delighted if we're not in the Champions League? Because then you can concentrate on just winning the league with that one game a week he goes on about so much. As if every fucking club that plays in the Champions League don't have the same issues. Does somebody want to remind the genius that Paris Saint-Germain won the quadruple having to do, what we are doing? Quadruple. Every poxy trophy that they could possibly win, they won. But not us. We were only delighted for going out of the Champions League because it allowed us to win the league. Because we wouldn't have got 7 points from 10 games without going out. That would have been too big of a task, Arna, wouldn't it? That really speaks to a mentality, by the way. That it might have been a struggle to get over the line if we hadn't got knocked out of the Champions League. Like, we couldn't have picked up 7 points. And again, in this press conference, did anybody hear them pushing back on that statement? Because it took fans and like the likes of Simon Brundish and Connor minutes to absolutely destroy that sentiment. We need 7 points to win the league from 10 games after PSG, Simon Brundish wrote. And Connor said the same thing to me. He's looking down the camera. He's talking absolute shit. And the journalists don't have the backbone to call him and say, Arna, this is nonsense. You're talking rubbish. The league title was well and truly sewn up. They're allowing it. Journalists, again, the ones who are supposed to ask the questions, can't even fact check a manager when he's talking garbage. Do your fucking jobs. Do you know how many of us would love the opportunity to get to ask them questions? How many of us would love to be sitting there while Arna spouts shite so we can pull him up on it? You have the Liverpool fan base at your back, hoping for you to do the right things. And again, we're let down because they don't have the backbone to do it. This isn't me being toxic, calling out the local journalists. This is basic work. You know he's spreading falsehoods. You know it's bullshit. Call him on it. Castle said, I 100% agree with your concerns on Slot, but there are bigger problems at our club. For the first time in a while, will a new manager fix it? Excuse me. You're spot on. There are bigger problems. Will a new manager fix it? It'll stop the rot. And this is what I keep talking about. At this point, the manager himself has admitted that when it gets to this stage, it only gets worse. So again, let me just read this out. He said, it's going to be really difficult to quiet the outside noise with the position we're in. Even if we win a few games, every loss, the noise will come back. It's impossible to shut down the noise at a club like this if you're not competing to win the league. Noise. But here's the thing. It's not impossible to quell the noise, Arna, because the yes men you're speaking to are pushing the narrative that it's okay. No need to panic. That he's got enough credit in the bank with fans. No, he doesn't. Stop talking shit. Do your fucking jobs. Again, I'm going to keep calling them out because they need to do their jobs. Call him out or your club becomes a laughingstock. He is treating us like idiots. And people are allowing it to happen. Do your jobs. Cal said, Craig, our expert directors gave us an incompetent manager, the highest paid yet terribly thin squad of injury-prone players and expiring contracts. That's a very well put post, Cal. And remember those numbers, Cal, that we've seen? They were for the 24-25 season, about the wages and that. So that's going to be higher again this year. We keep getting told, and I've said this for so many years, Cal, we keep getting told how great everyone is. You know, commercial revenues going up, stadium expansions, all this stuff. But the one thing that matters to fans, the only thing that matters to fans, is how we perform on the pitch. All the other stuff is the stuff that directors care about, owners care about. And yes, it is a mechanism to allow them to spend more on players. But you are damn right. We have a thin squad, apparently the highest paid in the Premier League. That's where we're at. And you're right. These are the geniuses. These are the geniuses that have overseen the situation where Salah, Trent and Virgil were all running down the deals to the end of it, where Canade's done it. These are the geniuses that are still trying to sell Andy Robertson to Spurs for 3 million quid. Tell me how that helps us. Tell me how that makes us better. Do we really need 3 million quid? I'll start to GoFundMe if we need 3 million quid. Like, is that where we're at? Just let me know. Richard, Michael, just say the word. We'll get a whip round. And we'll get to 3 million to keep Robbo if that's how stuck we are. Do you know, maybe you could sacrifice a few bob of your own wages. Because heaven knows you're not doing much to earn them at the minute. That's where we're at, is it? Nice. So yeah, Cal, as you've said, I don't know, mate, but it's a shit show. It's a shit show. Saunders said, Craig, mate, you're a class act. Fair play for saying things how they are. Been watching for years and you're the voice of the fan base where we can vent. So, this is where I have to be a bit more humble. I don't claim to be a voice of anyone. And nor are you saying I am, Sander. All I can ever do, and all I will ever do, is give you my opinion. If people agree with it, brilliant, thank you. If you don't agree with it, no problem, let's discuss it. But either way, what I won't do is stand back and watch us be mugged off. One consistent theme that I've had on this channel for years and years have been football fans being treated like idiots. It's been a gripe of mine for a long time, where you're being told black is white, up is down, left is right. You've been told what you're seeing with your own eyes isn't reality. And it's going right across it now. You know, it's not just a football thing. This is the world now. It doesn't matter what you see. You're going to be told something different. And it has to be that. It drives me bonkers. And I refuse to sit back and say nothing. Because then I'm part of the problem. Some think I am the problem. But again, I don't care. I'm here to give my opinion, chat with my community, and hopefully represent you the way you'd like to be represented. That's all I can ever promise. I am not the smartest guy in the room. I am not the guy with all the answers, and I never claimed to be. But I am going to be the guy who says it as he feels it. And I'm not going to be the guy who cowers away, hides away for an easier life, for the opportunity to interview a manager, for an opportunity to come to AXA. That's not going to be me. I want to be able to look myself in the mirror, look at my kids, and know that their father is the type of man that they want him to be. Honest, upfront, and blunt, whether you like it or not. Simple as that. That's what I've always promised, and that's all I'm going to deliver is my honest views. And right now, our club is in a mess. And putting our fingers over, our fingers in our ears and going la 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 ain't going to make the manager any better. The handy run of games, he fucked up. The handy run. How many statistics do we need to hear? How many numbers do we need to see showing that we're worse off than we have been in a very long time? Whether it's 20 points less than at the same stage last year, whether it's the first time since 1981 that we've drawn against the 3 newly promoted teams, whether it's the first time in 100 odd years that Liverpool have been beaten by 3 goals or more in consecutive games. How many more of these stats and numbers do we need to hear? Stop treating Liverpool fans like we are fucking idiots. We aren't. And stop trying to label any pushback as toxic. It isn't. You're not going to do to us what you want. Liverpool fans are the heartbeat of the club. Football fans in general are the heartbeats of their club. And our club in particular is built on that triangle. It's built on those 3 points of fan, players, manager. Together, moving in one direction, in unison. So how bad does it have to be when so many people are turning on the coach? And it isn't just because now of the style of football, because the style of football hasn't been good enough for a long time. Now he's insulting our intelligence. Now he's coming out with statements that are just factually bullshit. And still, the top reds and the people who don't have the backbone to do their jobs are sitting there and waiting it out. Waiting it out. For what? Do your jobs. Because remember, some of these guys don't even follow the Reds. They're not even Liverpool fans. So the fuck am I going to listen on how to behave as a Liverpool fan from someone that doesn't even support the club that they're covering, and I'm supposed to take advice from you? Fuck you. Blanc Bull said, I don't know what that means. But yay, I don't know, man. Klopp had aura, passion. Not once have players celebrated a goal with Slaw. They did it all the time with Klopp. Next manager has to have that element. Look, I never expected Arne to be Jurgen. I always expected him to be his own man. But it now feels like rather than trying to bring Liverpool fans with him or win them back over, he's just pushing them away more now. You know, saying things like, before he even says, he says, this is going to be an unpopular statement. So he knows he's about to say something that makes people annoyed. And yet he still comes out with it. Like, can you imagine the Real Madrid coach sitting in front of the media in Spain saying, I'm glad we got knocked out of the Champions League, because if we didn't get knocked out of the Champions League, we might not have been able to pick up the 7 points from the 10 remaining games we needed to win the Premier League, or to win La Liga in that case. Imagine that. Imagine the fucking field day we'd be having if Arteta came out with that garbage. Or United's manager came out with it. Or Chelsea's manager came out with it. We'd be falling over ourselves, laughing at them. And rightly so. But that is what your Premier League manager, Arne Slot, has said. With a straight face. Fuck me. Doubters to believers to delusional underachievers. Yeah. Yeah. Right, let's end the poll anyway. So, 90% of people from over 3,300 people feel that some of his statements have been strange, to say the least, lately. Lord Darlow said, I'm not even a Liverpool fan. I'm a West Brom fan, but I love the way you speak, Craig. It's honest and blunt. And as a man from the Black Country, a working class, I consider myself honest and blunt. Thank you. Look, I'm not saying I've got all the answers. I'm not saying I've got all the info. But I appreciate it. What does my head in is I'm labelled as toxic, as a troublemaker, as not a serious person. I've been undermined non-stop since I started this. But we're still growing. We're still going in the right direction. Why is that? It's because people know it isn't right. And people are fed up and they're tired. I'm fucking tired. I'm exhausted. This is not what this season was supposed to be about. You know, honestly, I look back on August and it was, you know, the way people say that you make more money when you lose on YouTube. That has some truth to it. But I can tell you categorically that the highest earning month this channel ever had was August. August, when we had the transfer window we all dreamt of. A start to the season that was going well, although performances weren't great, we were winning. That was by far and away the record month on our channel. And from that point to now, I've sat back every night and watched as my fellow fans, bit by bit, start to lose heart, patience, but most importantly, belief. Belief. The thing that is so special that all football fans at the start of every season have is optimism and belief and a hope. And that's been crushed, trampled on in a matter of months. We've gone from the greatest transfer window we can remember to optimism, to we want to win everything, to our manager sitting there looking on the camera and telling us that it was a good thing to get knocked out of the Champions League by Paris Saint-Germain. That was a good thing. That's what I'm saying here. It takes a special kind of delusion to grasp defeat from the jaws of victory like that. Liverpool fans don't think they've a God-given right to win every game of football. We're not idiots. We understand it's a competitive league and that anything can happen. But we do want to see effort. We do want to see that those guys out there are playing for the badge and everyone is pulling in the same direction. Because without that, you'll win nothing. Without everybody on the same page pulling in the same direction, you will win nothing. And this season, I refuse to sit back and believe that there's a possibility that he could win the Champions League. Or I refuse to sit back and listen to the likes of Carragher say, is a qualification for the Champions League or bust for Arne? Because it's bigger than that. Because yeah, he might be fired. So he'll swan off to another gig. But we still won't be in the Champions League at that point. And we will have a wage bill that is unmanageable. We will have issues that will have longer lasting effects if we don't act. How can the guys who are supposed to be clever not understand the risk-reward ratio? They have to. They have to know. Why leave it till it's too late to act? It can be salvaged now. We're in a dogfight right now for the Champions League qualification. Because third is too far away. So we're in a position now where we're praying we get a fifth place spot, which it looks like the English teams will get. So then we're in a fight with Chelsea, Manchester United, Newcastle, and whoever else makes a run. That's where we're at. It can be saved. But sticking your fingers in your ears and saying la 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 la, Slot still has the backing of the board, that's just silly. As an AZ Alkmaar fan, I'm still mad at Slot because he was talking with Feyenoord without permission while there had a few years left on his deal. Well, imagine how I feel, Ronald, when I see my manager at a time where our club is up to shits dressing up as a mascot for PEC's Volla. That's what I'm seeing. Arna playing mascot. Full kit wanker playing like a mascot for a Dutch club. I've also, Ronald, seen my manager piss off to Dubai on the back of a 3-game losing streak and come back and lose to Manchester United. I've also seen my manager partying with Wayne Lineker midway through a season. This is a fucking joke. And he has been acting the mick for a very long time. And somehow, some people still want to back it and talk about it being a loyalty. You don't blindly follow anyone. Anyone that blindly follows anybody is going to walk into trouble. We're fans. We're not idiots. Don't take that same loyalty and fandom. Don't take that for granted, as they have before, and they've learned. Football thought it could kill itself off. Football thought it could topple fans with their greedy little Super League plot. How did that go? Lasted all of 24 hours, you greedy little fucks, before it was all toppled by fan power. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Javid said, Slot sounding like a Ten Hag full of shit. Exactly. Delusion. And his points tally is worse than Hodgson's per game. And he's still in a job. If you have any idea for a poll that you'd like to see me put in, throw it in, give me an idea and I'll put it into the chat for you. I'm trying to get through some comments and work through things, but who's Wayne Lineker? He's Gary Lineker's brother, but let's just say my worst nightmare would be, as a father, for my daughter to come home with a Wayne Lineker type. Let's just leave it at that. Yeah, let's just leave it at that without getting into slander. Eddie said, in your opinion, when does he get sacked? See, the likelihood, Eddie, is that he gets sacked when we're out of the Champions League and when we've gotten to a position that's unsalvageable in the Premier League. And then they can say it got too far. And then they can say they gave him every opportunity. But you tell me that that's the acting of an ownership or a management group that is intent on winning, that actually wants to win right now. It's not. That's not the behaviour. They know he's not good enough. They're already out there scanning the globe, looking at candidates. Like, let's not be naive about this. They know. But it's being dragged out. And I don't know why. Is it because Gerrard can't manage till April with the tax implications? Because I remember when he's been linked with the Rangers job, there was something that said if he took a job before April, he'd be liable for a load of tax from the money from Saudi. So maybe, is that it? Are we holding off till Gerrard's available or something? I don't know, get Thiago in. Whatever. Just get somebody in who will actually be able to get through to the players and they'll listen to. Because this lad is fucking clueless. Like, he talks about being great at being great in between both boxes. Like, that was a genuine statement. He thinks he's great in between both boxes, and yet the night before, Carragher was on Monday Night Football showing a graphic and a video of quite how poor we are between both boxes. That we were dispossessed and they had 74 yards of freedom before anybody went near them from a Liverpool shirt. And that's the area of the pitch that he thinks we're good in. Right, let's try this one. Right, pick one for the job. Enrique, Alonso, or somebody else. Because I'll be really, really honest and say Xabi Alonso is not my first choice for the next Liverpool coach. I think he'd be an acceptable choice, an understandable choice. But for myself, Enrique would be the best one with what we have. But I'd absolutely understand Alonso. And his time at Madrid hasn't put me off in the slightest because, look, I don't think that's a doable job for anyone that has actual standards that they want from the players. Because you're just not getting the buy-in from them. You are below them in the rankings over there. It goes Florentino Perez, players, head coach. That's the order. Paul, how are you, dude? Said, what do you think Slot has been told by Hughes and Edwards? No idea. I truly mean that because, like, in one point I'm asking myself, Paul, are they too, like, do they know that they've made the wrong choice here? Or do they know that the jig is up, but they don't want to admit a failure? Or are they just truly willfully ignorant? Because I can't believe that, I refuse to believe that they're happy with what they're seeing. That just doesn't make sense. So, is it hubris? But again, they might not be here in 18 months. We don't know. So it's really hard to look at this now and see any type of joined up thinking. Because for every mistake, there's an excuse. All the contracts running down, well, the excuse was that was on Klopp and Schmadtke because there was no sporting director. Schmadtke was brought in to basically help with transfers and that everyone took their eye off the ball. Whoops, Trent leaves. But before that, how many times did you see players run down? Gini Wijnaldum as an example. There is some weird anomaly with our club and players running down contracts that doesn't seem to really exist anywhere else. To the extent that we're seeing. And yet again, we have a situation where rather than letting Andy Robertson leave for free at the end of the season, if that's what Robbo wants, they're trying to sell him for 3 million quid. Then they put out a statement or a briefing that they were pulling the plug on that sale. But the truth was that they just didn't think that Roma were going to be able to get a left back. So now, all of a sudden, it's not being ruled out again. And that in itself, that was the one thing that really made me say, fuck right off. How am I supposed to think there's any ambition to get rid of your vice captain? Because if there's one person that you were to ask a Liverpool fan who you know and feel gives a shit out there on that pitch, it is Andy Robertson. Curtis Jones as a Scouser would probably be up there, but Andy Robertson epitomises everything that has been good about us in the last 10 years. Andy Robertson epitomises the humility, the effort that Liverpool fans connect with. And you want to sell him for 3 million quid to a Champions League competitor to bring back a player you've already decided wasn't good enough and couldn't get a game at Roma. And I am supposed to believe as a fan that has been done in the best interests of the season. Come on, please. It just... It's not right. It's not right. We're so afraid to sack him because we don't want to become United, while actually becoming United by not sacking him. You become United by doing the wrong things over and over again, not by sacking. It just comes back to that whole double-sided Liverpool standard thing. At 1 minute, we want to be a bastion of invincibility and that we exist to win trophies. And then the next minute, we're getting all the, if you can't support us when we lose, don't support us when we win, bollocks. And all this, it's not the Liverpool way to sack managers. Well, it's not the Liverpool fans' way to keep writing off seasons while you fuckers keep making mistakes. That's not our way. Arne's now taunting the fact that he won a league title to say it's 2 in 35 years. this club in the last 3 years has won one league title and a League Cup. He's trying to make out like we're some 2-bit fucking nobody. Genuinely. These are all his words from his press conference. How is that a manager that you think's gone out there to fight for you? To fight for the cause? He's given up. He's belittling our club and the fans by talking about outside noise. As if the fucking booing inside Anfield is an inside noise. It's just silliness. And yeah, and the irony is, as you said, Nimrod, look at what happened with United when they did what we said we should do with Gerrard. They brought in somebody who United fans probably know deep down isn't going to be the long-term solution, but somebody who has come in and put a rocket up those players and got the standards up, and at least put a bit of fight in them, with some common sense words and some decent tactics. They've won against Manchester City, and then they've gone to the Emirates and been the first team to beat Arsenal there this season. But meanwhile, we've drawn 4 games and lost 1 in 2026, taken 4 points from 15, and I'm supposed to believe that this guy's going to win a Champions League. Sonder said football is life for far too many of us, or for many of us, excuse me, while it's just a job for others. We grew up watching this club, ups and downs, while they just ride off a season. You see, the one thing that Arne doesn't realise, or maybe does but doesn't care, is, you know that 2 trophies and 2 league titles in 35 years that he's on about? Well, we had to live through those 35 years, Arne. That was our pain. That was ours to endure. So we see our club finally get to the top of the mountain again. And unlike Kloppo, you were given the keys to the kingdom. You were backed. And you shit the bed. And now you're taunting us as if it's some small little club. You're talking about the most successful club in English football history. You're talking about 6 Champions Leagues. And you're trying to make us out to be some tin pot club. Fuck you. I'm so miffed having spent pounds or money on kit, tickets, travel abroad. Would love to have 10 minutes of the clown destroying my 67 years of pleasure. Look, I spent a fortune going over to watch them this season as well. You know, tickets was about £700 just for the match ticket for the Sevens Lounge for that game. On top of the travel and the hotels and all the other stuff. To see them lose to United after Arne been in Dubai, when we conceded within 63 or 67 seconds a Brian Mbeumo goal. That was my dream, to go and see Liverpool play United at Anfield. Now, I'm not saying I have every right to go there and watch us beat United. I'm not trying to make out like that. But I know I'm not on my own with these things. You know, how do the fans feel that paid their money and brought their children or their relatives to the League Cup game that he was willing to fuck away? You know, this is real, as Sonder said to us. This is emotional investment, financial investment. We don't wake up on Monday. We're not millionaires. We can't lose one job, walk straight back into another high-paid job. This is it for us. We're working-class people, and their successes we vicariously live through. It's tribal. And if there isn't that tribal aspect of us all being together, if there's division, that's not a good thing. It's messy, and it's only going to get messier. He's admitting it. He said it bluntly. When it starts, it's going to keep coming. I said it to you weeks ago. When the conversations around the manager's future start, and I mean start properly within a fan base, it's only going to go one way. He said it. So why are we waiting? He knows he should be fired. Hughes and Edwards know he should be fired. So why are we writing off another season? Why does it have to get to the point where it's irretrievable before we act? That's not smart. Because I'm telling you, No Champions League football next year, and we are up shit creek. But Hughes and Edwards and Slot can all fucking sail off into the sunset. We can't. You and I are in this for life. This is our club. There is no whoopsies. It matters to us. Every single week it matters to us. Leo on Liverpool said, "Hey Craig, my family paid 600 quid for us to go to the League Cup game. First ever Liverpool game. To see Slot disrespect us made me furious with the team he put out against the Premier League side. 600 quid. Well, firstly, mate, I'm sorry, truly, that was your first experience. Like, what I will say and what I've made sure I've always said was that my own experience of going to the Sevens Lounge and the money that was spent, the result was terrible, the performance was terrible, but I can't speak highly enough of the staff inside Anfield, and I don't know if you had a similar experience, but I will sing their praises. They couldn't have been any better, and everyone that was in there was more than looked after, and fair play. They were so hospitable, so great. But yeah, you're not on your own. So many people, man. I know people going over to the game tomorrow who are, shall we say, less enthused about it than they were originally. And the problem is, if we do start to fall out of these top tier competitions in Europe and the money starts to dry up a bit, well, those corporate tickets are going to be a bit less appealing. Those commercial sponsorships and partnerships are going to be a bit less appealing. We won't have the same. Do you remember when Adidas said that we weren't worth basically the money all those years ago when we were floundering around? They have a chance to act and save the season. If you take nothing else from my stream, take that. They can still save this season. They're backing the wrong horse. They know it. But they're playing with house money. But they're also playing with your emotions. They're also playing with your life support of a club. They're assuming that you're always going to be there, that you're always going to show up. They're opening more and more outlets around the world than any other football club over the last year that I'm aware of. 221, something like that. All of that needs success to hold it up. Because if the success isn't there, all the rest of it goes away. So again, do your jobs, remove him from his role, and get somebody in to get this team playing proper football and save the season. Then you can figure out your next step. But do the right thing now. Because whatever you think, the fans aren't behind him. They're now getting angry at him. And you can already see that there is clearly a division in that dressing room. You've seen, how many images or graphics have you seen of players coming up and shrugging their shoulders at him or not sure when he's giving an instruction? Or again, not putting the ball out in 6 minutes when we're down to 10 men and then we can see the second goal. You don't do that to a manager you respect or fear. You just don't. Cosmic Onion, what a cool name that is, said, "Hey Craig, love your content and for sticking up for the fan base. You always wear your heart on your sleeve and are respectful. Thank you for that." Thank you for that, mate. Yeah, someone said to me last night, and it's a comment that stuck with me because it kind of hurt me a bit, but they didn't mean it to. They said, "My mates all think you're toxic and negative, but I'm really grateful to be part of this community." So it was a nice post, but it's the first part or the other part of that stuck with me. Because these things are said to undermine me and us and anybody that speaks out. It's not a new tactic, but it's a clear tactic. And I've said it numerous times. Look at anybody that gets granted access to anything around our club and tell me any of them who are critical voices. You won't find one because they don't exist. So we decided a long time ago that we don't want to be answerable to anybody other than our audience, and that we will do what we can to keep the lights on, going down the hard road, the road that at least allows us to be honest, to be able to look in the mirror. Because it would be all too easy to go down the coward's route, be a nodding dog, and take all the stuff that comes along with it. But that's not me. That'll never be me. So if I need to be called toxic by some people who truly just don't know me, cool. But come in and get to know us. Have a debate with us. Talk with us. You'll see that we're not lunatics. We just don't buy into the narratives when they're not true. And again, I say, from August to now, how has it gotten this bad so quickly? The lolly said, yeah, and the worst is saying in public, we can't deal with set pieces and long throw-ins. Yeah. We can't deal with low block. Last season, comment against Forest after the game. Love a low block. Love playing against low blocks. He's just a walking contradiction. Adzer, how are you, mate? Said, hi, Craig. Do you think Hughes and Edwards have the authority to sack the manager, or does John have to give the approval on it? Excuse me, I'm still at the tail end of this cold. Apologies for the wheezing and stuff. This is, again, coming back to that debate I used to have with David Lynch. I don't know. I really don't know. I would imagine for a decision like that, you wouldn't be making it with at least informing the ownership. Whether they ultimately have the final say or not, I would imagine they do. You know, like, I mean, as much as you'd empower anybody, the owners of any sporting outlet would probably have, you know, the final word on it. So, I guess the question is, does it go, the Hughes and Edwards have decided enough is enough, and then they bring that to FSG, and FSG then make a yay or a nay? Or does it come from above, down to them to say, look, you need to act now? I'm hoping, actually, do you know what? I really don't care which way it works, as long as somebody comes to the conclusion that it's not working and that it isn't going to work. I'm also a Liverpool fan, so I know the pain. I didn't know you're a Shelburne fan, but it was fun to see those teams playing against each other. Parrot is a go. Thank you, my man. I wouldn't look. I'm a very casual Shelburne fan. That would have been the club that my uncles and all took me to growing up. So it's always would be my Irish team. But yeah, thanks in the nice words and Troy Parrott, man. Fingers crossed he can help us qualify for a World Cup. Reason I say Alonso is because of what he did with Wirtz and Frimpong in Germany. Also, Liverpool player can bring out some fire and passion. Somebody said something, or maybe they posed a question. And look, again, this is just a hypothetical. But somebody said, do you think that they don't want Alonso in because he'd have more support from the fans? That their position maybe gets undermined, or their authority gets undermined, because it would be so clear that he has that support. Again, it's just somebody musing on it, and I'm not trying to state it as a fact, but I really, really like to know genuinely why they haven't acted yet, because I can't believe they think he's turning it around. And I don't know who the next coach will be. There are others saying that they're in conversations with Alonso. I think there's some reporting from Spain that said he's been approached. I don't know. I don't have that information. All I know is that every day I wake up now, I'm looking at my phone and hoping to see the words Liverpool fire Arne Slot. Now, when it happens, and it will, I'm not going to come on here to celebrate it, because there's nothing to be celebrated about it. Like I said, nobody wants to have this conversation and nobody wants to be saying it. You know what? I say it with a heavy heart, but it has to be done. But I'm not going to celebrate it when it's done, because again, there's nothing to celebrate about. 50 Ping Skiller said, thank you for being the voice of reason, my friend. No BS. Thank you. Situation like Robbo's contracts are why Klopp clashed with Edwards. Why sell Robbo unceremoniously when he can have an Anfield send off? What message does that send to players in the squad or potential transfer targets? I don't know about what message it sends, but just even from a sporting perspective, Raekwon, like, how does it make sense to weaken yourself? Like, can I see a world where Andy Robertson maybe likes the idea of the Spurs project? Yeah, of course. You know, and Andy Robertson has earned the right to make that decision on his future, but he is still under contract with Liverpool for the next 6 months, and I'm sure he's not going to protest if he has to stay and see out those 6 months, and everybody knows that that would be in the best interest of the club. Trying to hope that Roma can get another left back from Wolves so that we can bring back Costas, who you've already decided wasn't good enough and moved on. It's not going to make us better. It's just going to be another position where if we do have an injury, we're absolutely fucked. We're at that way at centre back. And have they done anything in this window to strengthen at centre back? Like, I've asked so many times, why haven't the journalists pushed back on him about things like, thank God we went out of the Champions League. It allowed us to win the league. Nobody pushed back and said that's nonsense. Nobody pushes back on anything that this man says. And the failure is just allowed to flourish. It's just demoralising. Like I said, I don't know if you watched the video I did earlier on today, but the only way I could really get through that video was by approaching it with a bit of a sarcastic tone, because shouting and screaming isn't going to get us anywhere. It's crazy how many of us share this feeling. While the club / journos take us for fools, gaslighting at its finest, we care and suffer every single day. Yes, exactly. And then they think they get to tell us how to act, or what's the Liverpool way and what isn't. Again, some of these people, not even Liverpool fans. You know, and you're not on your own. You see it. You see the people you see the feeling. Nobody believes this is good enough. Now look, I'm well aware that there are different levels of outrage and there are different levels of tolerance for everybody, in the same way that football means a different amount to everybody. You know, I live a pretty boring life where football is my thing. You know, outside of my wife and kids, football's it. Always has been, always will be. Football is my thing. Football, boxing, that's it. I'm not a very social guy. You won't see me out in the pubs much. You don't see me out and about. I'm not a partier. I'm a boring dude that loves to talk about the club that he loves. Started the channel from a place of loneliness and wanting to reach out to other Reds. And somehow we've ended up where we are, which we're extremely grateful for. But I nearly cried at the end of that stream last night. Lads, I nearly fucking cried. That's how disheartening reading that statement that we read at the end about him being safe in his job felt. I said, where have we gone? I said it before, I'll say it again. You're one of my heroes. Man, look, I'm not worth any type of hero worship. I'm a normal dude. And I'm no better or worse than you or anybody else. I take my role here very seriously to try to be a fair representative of our audience. And this is me toned back at the minute, out of respect for the situation and you. Because if I spoke on here how I speak to my friends about this situation, I probably wouldn't have a YouTube channel at the end of it. And it would be deserved as well, to be honest. But it just drives me doolally when football fans are just spoken down to. I keep coming back to it. Sorry for it, but I keep coming back to it. There's a mad stat that was doing the rounds today from Football Tweet that said Mohamed Salah has now lost 7 of the past 8 Premier League matches in which he started for Liverpool. He's the first Liverpool player to suffer this fate since Dirk Kuyt in 2012. That's another one of these weird, eerie stats that we've had this season that just show how bad it is. Now, I don't know if that's a reflection on Mohamed Salah or that's just a reflection on the team and he's been unfortunate to be part of that circumstance. But even you looking at him this season, he hasn't looked like himself. So I want to quickly, if I can, go down through all of my notes from start to finish, and then we'll come back in, check the poll, and we'll keep going with some of the chats and super chats I have to work through. But just bear with me for a sec. So we started off, Paul Joy said, Joe Gomez with a hip injury and Ibrahim Konate absent from Liverpool training. I thought Gomez had a knee-to-knee collision that had swollen up. So I'm unsure what the prognosis is, as does seems that everybody is unsure on Gomez. But we won't have him or Konate for tomorrow, as things stand. Fabrizio Romano said Liverpool have Jeremy Jacquet high in their shortlist. They're in a battle with Chelsea and Bayern. Ron want to keep him this window, but selling him now for the summer is something they do. Team Talk said Liverpool are reportedly weighing up a shock move to bring Steven Gerrard back to Anfield as an interim manager, should the club decide to dismiss under-fire head coach Arne Slot. The Dutch manager, who impressed in his debut season, is now fighting to save his job as Liverpool endure one of the most disappointing title defences in Premier League history. Then there was the Mohamed Salah stat that we've just gone. Jeremy Frimpong on what would be a successful season said, we're still in the FA Cup and Champions League, so obviously if we win it, then we'll be really happy. I mean, fair enough. No real complaints about that. I don't think we will, but again, love Jeremy, no complaints about that. Arne Slot on Konate said, I've spoken to Ibu and we know he's having a hard time. I'm hoping he'll be back soon, but not for tomorrow. And again, completely understandable. On the negativity, Arne said this, it's going to be really difficult to quiet the noise with the position we're in. Even if we win a few games, every loss, the noise will come back. It is impossible to shut down the noise at a club like this if you're not competing to win the league. So he knows he's fighting mission impossible because he's not competing to win the league. He's 10 points off third. He said, in between the boxes, we are a very, very, very good team. Way we bring the ball out and get to the box. So many times at Bournemouth, we're in a position where I wanted us to be, but bringing it from promising position to finishing it off, we have to improve. In the other box, too many times they arrive and they get a chance. Complete disbalance. Very bad cocktail we're having. If you can improve in both boxes, then we can still do something very special. If we can improve in one box, it can be a better season. And if not, there's going to be a lot of noise. Also, Arne Slot, again, this is not going to be a popular opinion, what I tell you now. Maybe the reason we won the league last season is because we played Paris Saint-Germain. We had a week to prepare for league games after going out of the Champions League. Even if you reconsider and you come to a different decision, can we change it about the squad? Can we make the squad bigger with the money we have? Yes, you tried to. 35 million for Mark A. Don't forget that, Arne. We're 1 or 2 players short compared to last season, but we were perfect and you had a great window in the summer. There was no talk of being short then. Now all of a sudden we're short. And he said, and you add 3 long-term injuries, it's a lot. It's also bullshit. Because one of your long-term injuries was to a centre-back who we'd seen 87 minutes of in a League Cup game and had no idea how much minutes he was going to get throughout the season. The other one is your backup right back. And then the third one is your striker who has a fractured leg and was already slow coming in. So you've missed 2 months. But he's making it out like the spine of the squad is gone for the season. He's full of shit. This won't be a popular thing for me to say, but maybe the reason we won the league is because we had to play PSG in the last 16. They beat us, and then every time we had to play a week to prepare for the next game. Arsenal had a double programme and dropped a few points in that time. Every manager is aware, a bigger squad, the better chance you have to cope with games. And even today, I had to disappoint some players as they're not playing. So was he saying we've too big of a squad then? Because he said, even today, I had to disappoint some players who were not playing, whilst a few sentences ago was bemoaning injuries on a smaller squad. Like I said, a walking contradiction. Arna, we want to be competitive in every competition. That's always the aim. But the reality is in the last 3 years, we've won 1 Premier League and 1 League Cup. So he's back to slagging off the club again. Whether things are acceptable, I have my opinion, but I'm not going to share that. The outside world will have its opinion. A lot has been said about the 450 million, but people tend to forget the 300 we brought in. I have my opinions on what is acceptable, but I won't share that. Why won't you share it? Because it's full of shit. You're full of shit. The opinion's bullshit. I'll say it. You're deluded. On a serious note, folks, and I do mean this on a serious note, the Touchline posted this and it said 7 PAOK fans have sadly passed away in a traffic accident in Romania. They were heading to France to watch Thursday's match against Lyon in the Europa League when they collided with a tanker truck. Heartbreaking news. Like I said, every football fan that sets off to head to a game, we want to come home safely. So sincerely, from everybody in the football world, all of our condolences to those PAOK fans. That's terribly sad news. To get back to Arna saying about, going out of the Champions League maybe being the reason for us to win the league. Well, Simon Brundish was quick to post to say we needed 7 points to win the league from the 10 games left after Paris Saint-Germain. So again, he's full of shit. Not Simon, Arna. Well, that's what helped us win the league. So we couldn't have got 7 points from 30 available. Jurgen Klopp, Marcus Krush, Shami Khedira, and Andreas Reitig, Marcus Lons, are working on plans for a new German league. The idea comes from a growing concern over how difficult it's become for young talents to break into first teams. As a result, the group is exploring the creation of an under-21 league designed to help players gain meaningful experience before stepping up to the Bundesliga. The shortcomings of the current system include only 9 German academies rank among the top 100 most productive in Europe. The Bundesliga has the fewest homegrown players among Europe's top 5 leagues, and 85% of minutes played in the Bundesliga are played by non-academy signings. And that piece there came from Bild. So that's the news as I've ran through it and as I promised. Now we'll just jump back in and see what you guys are thinking. Remember, the poll is live, folks. Pick one for the job, Enrique Alonso or someone else. And also, don't forget our giveaway. Win a signed Steven Gerrard frame shirt completely free. Scan the QR code below or use the link in the description for further details. We will be giving away one signed item every single month to members of our WhatsApp community, with thanks to our friends at the Collectors Corner. Not only that, if you see anything on the Collectors Corner website that you'd like to treat yourself to, there is a 20% discount code for you as well. All of that you will find when you scan that QR code and join the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp. And thank you so much again to our friends at the Collectors Corner. The Collectors Corner were also the company that were kind enough to give us the signed and framed Diogo Jota shirt that we gave away in the summer. And remember, we'll have one prize in January, which is the Steven Gerrard shirt. Then we'll have another one in February, March, April, May, all the way through 2026. Can't thank them enough. It's a pleasure to be working with them. I've gotten to know the guys at the Collectors Corner quite a bit over the last year as I've been buying a lot from them. And an absolutely wonderful company ran by people with their heart in the right place. And I promise you, you won't be disappointed if you do purchase any items from there. One of the things I've always had a gripe with, or a concern when I order stuff from any site, is does it arrive in one piece? Because, when you're transporting framed stuff like that, it's treacherous on occasion. At every single item that I've received, and I've received over 15 items in the last year alone from this company. Every one of them have made it intact. The boxing, the presentation, everything is absolutely spot on. obviously all signed legitimately with full certificates of authenticity. You'll see players like Antoine Semenyo, Robson, and many others that they've done signings with. Ian Gary and many other UFC stars as well. This is a company that is on the up and up, and one that we're proud to partner with to bring you guys amazing giveaways and, of course, good quality, affordable merchandise as well if you'd like to treat yourself to some signed stuff. You've heard me say it many times before. A lot of the stuff you see on the club website is overpriced with regards to this, like 500 quid for a signed shirt just in just as the shirt. You know, that's not reasonable value in this day and age for people who are living in a cost of living crisis. So if you do want to treat yourself to something, like I said, there's a 20% discount code there for you as well. Just use Anfield Agenda 1, but you'll see that if you click onto the QR code. And by the way, screenshot, if you do want to click on the QR code, I only learned this last week. Connor told me, if you're on an iPhone and you screenshot, you can then go into your photos and just press down on the QR code and it will bring you up an option to go to the site. Right, let's keep going. Liverbird Army. So, excuse me, I've had the worst 6 months, 4 deaths in my family, and my bro nearly died of COVID. You and the Anfield Agenda family have been the calm I need in the chaos. I cannot thank you enough, Craig. You don't, mate, you owe me nothing. Let me just send our condolences firstly to those that have passed away in your family. Myself and my wife's family have also had some people who've passed away very recently. I spoke about it on here. And I guess this leads me into the conversation I kind of brought up last night, and I'd like to again extend my sincere gratitude and thanks to Paddy Pimblett, who, even in the heartbreak of loss in his fight against Justin Gaethje, still took time to speak about mental health and men not killing themselves and speaking and reaching out. He spoke about people in his own life who've sadly lost their lives or taken their lives. I've friends who have also passed away through suicide. My mother and father. My mother died through suicide. My father drank himself to death. It is enough is enough in that scenario. As Paddy Pimblett said, speak up. It isn't weak. It isn't an unmanly thing to do. Everyone wants you to be here. If you are suffering, if you are in pain, please speak to a doctor, speak to a mental health professional, speak to a teacher if you're in school, if you're in college, speak to someone. It isn't anything to be embarrassed about. We're all fucked up in our own unique way. And heaven knows I wouldn't be here without the help and support of psychiatric care I've received, medication I take, counselling I go to. So please, 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 if you do, like Paddy Pimblett said, make the right decision. Be here. Have a future. Speak to somebody. I'm so proud that even, I don't know Paddy Pimblett. I've never had the pleasure of speaking to Paddy Pimblett. For all I know, he could think I'm the biggest arsehole in the world. But my God, I was so proud. That's a Scouser. That's why I love that city and its people. That's a fucking Scouser right there. Speaking from the heart, looking out for people. I couldn't speak hard in that moment as well, because I thought to myself, his heart must be broke. Just fought for the interim title and lost. His heart must be broke. But he still spoke about Diogo and his brother Andre. He spoke about men taking their own lives, and he uses his platform for positivity. That right there is a fucking legend. Alonso for the tactics and Gerrard for the passion, said Jack Nicol. Hi Craig, I'm late in. What's the news with Slot? Well, unfortunately the news, Casper, is he's still here, bro. He's still here. And who knows? You know, tomorrow we play Karabag. Yeah, don't know how to feel. You know, I fully expect to win tomorrow. Then it's Newcastle on Saturday. And that's where I start to get concerned. Newcastle, Man City, they're games that truly do concern me. Because what I don't want to happen, Casper, is the season to be gone before any action is taken to try to remedy things. Because it can still be saved. I'm going to fire a restraining order against Slot, said Casper. John Allison said, Craig, you're awesome. The voice of most honest fans who have the same opinion as you. Thanks for giving us a voice. Appreciate yourself and Connor. Like I've always said, mate, our pleasure. You know, we appreciate your support and we appreciate you being here with us. You know, we only, the stronger our voice is going to become, you know, the more of us that come together, the more of us that sing from the same hymn sheet. And like I said, we're reaching out to people right now behind the scenes as well, because nobody, and I mean nobody, takes any pleasure in this current situation. I don't want to be on here slating our coach. I don't want to do it. But it's just beyond the pale now. So, he said, throughout this whole season, I can constantly come back to these moments. At a certain point, you have to look at different things. Is it luck? Is it bad luck? Or do we need to improve? We definitely need to improve. We have to bring more bodies in our own box when we have to defend. That's not always the case, because in large parts of the game, we do this really well. In some games, we do this for 90 minutes really well. Against Marseille, I really liked our performance offensively and defensively. Set pieces are also part of the box, and we've been a disaster in set pieces throughout this season. The positive was that we scored 2 from set pieces as well, so there is a development to see. Maybe, although one game is not a sign, it's already developed. But we brought ourselves in every single game, except for 1 or 2, maybe, in far more promising positions than the other team. But they arrive once. It's a scrappy ball, scrappy this, scrappy that, and the ball goes in. We arrive in so many times from good football, from good combinations into better situations than we concede. But unfortunately, that doesn't lead to goals enough. Again, I'm just going to say, whatever he says, it just sounds like Charlie Brown character going, wah, 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 wah. That's it at this point. Because it's delusion. It's always somebody else's fault. We're always unlucky. We're great in one box. We're great in 2 boxes. We're great in between the boxes. We're shit in a box. We're shit in this box. Loves playing the low block. Hates playing the low block. Can't break down the low block. Loves all the attacking players we have. The man is just a walking contradiction and needs to go. Even if we win the Champions League, I could never back him again, said Casper. I'm getting to the point now, Casper, where for the first time in my life, I'm going to start using words like detest. Because even with Hodgson, I could listen to the words he was saying. I can't anymore with Arne. I can't even stomach listening to his voice. Because he's so far removed from the situation. He just feels like he's mentally checked out. Because he's just coming out with bollocks. Just one garbage sentence after another. I feel depressed today, Craig. But I'll always support Liverpool. It doesn't matter who the manager is or will be. This team needs its identity back. And this is the thing that's important, Rajat. We will outlast all of them. We'll outlast the coach. We'll outlast Hughes. We'll outlast Edwards. We'll outlast FSG. We are the fans, the club. We are the fans, what makes Liverpool special. Without the fans, they don't sell the images of the cop. They don't sell all of those corporate seats. Without the fans giving their heart and soul, our football club isn't what it is. And once again, I see a football club treating those fans like idiots. And I see a certain group of journalists sitting back and doing nothing as it happens. They'll be very quick once they've been given the nod to talk about why Slot should have been gone when he's fired. But where are they now? This is the time to not be afraid. This is the time to stand up, be brave, and have your voice heard. It's as simple as that. I'm never going to be the one that gets in the fetal position and hides in the corner. Because this football club, like you've said, means so much to so many of us from all different walks of life, of all different ages, from all different countries. We love the club. We all make our own individual sacrifices to support it, to watch it. Whether you're getting up early, whether you're staying up late, whether you're travelling to games, whether you're travelling over to supporters clubs, whether you're buying your Liverpool tops from Adidas, whether you're buying them from the club, whether you're paying for your Sky Sports, your TNT Sports, your DAZN subscriptions, your Amazon Primes, whether you've got your All Red membership, all of these things only happen with us. The 220 odd stores they've opened around the world will only be a success because of the fans. You cannot take those people for idiots. You cannot piss in their pockets and tell them it's raining. Don't tell us that things are okay. Don't tell us that the situation isn't at its worst. Stand up, have your say, be vocal, in or outside Anfield, because that's what it's going to take. Nobody wants it to get there. Any club with any type of sensible leadership would have known after the Forest game that that was it. That was the time where the fans started to turn. Now it's getting worse. Now people are bringing their kids, spending their hard-earned money, going to Anfield, and it's going to become more and more toxic as this absolute fucking spoofer continues to mislead fans and talk shite about the club. That's it. I don't really have much else to add. We have to stand up and we have to stay together. Don't let them divide us. Don't let them squash your views. You deserve to have a say. You aren't a bad person. You aren't half a fan. Have your say. Adam said, if we don't think we can get Xhaka this month, surely we could have got Ordonez this month cheaper. Also, loved your news video earlier. I laughed a lot. Thanks, Adam. For me, mate, the real alarm bells for me this month went off when the Marquez situation happened, you know? So, let's just look at that in its own spectrum for a second. We knew we wanted him in the summer because he was in an MRI machine having his medical. We'd all heard umpteen times from every source available that covers our club, and I do mean everyone, that Liverpool still wanted him in the summer on a free. What we never knew was what would happen if somebody made a move mid-season. Or would Mark Gay be willing to leave Crystal Palace mid-season in a World Cup year? They were the things that we didn't know. We got the answer to that quite quickly, because all of a sudden it went from Crystal Palace will only entertain offers of upwards of £35 million this month for Mark Gay to Manchester City have agreed a deal of £20 million with Crystal Palace for Mark Gay. And we were nowhere to be seen. So we wanted him next summer, we wanted him last summer, but in the middle, and remember, in this time, our defensive situation, our centre-back situation has gotten immeasurably worse than before we attempted to sign Mark Gay the first time. We've lost Giovanni Leone. We're closer to knowing that Canade isn't going to stay or isn't good enough to stay. Virgil's getting older. And Gomez, they wanted to sell to AC Milan. So we're in a position where some of the players know their future isn't with the club and the club don't really want them. And we have an opportunity to get somebody with 4.5 years of Premier League experience, who's homegrown, who's an England international, who screams leadership for £20 million, and our club chose not to do it. That, for me, was the moment where I went, oh, fuck. We're in trouble. Because it felt like we were back to the penny pinching days again. And then, just when you think the fuckery can't get any better, you hear the Andy Robertson news. That the club are considering selling Andy Robertson to Spurs for £3 million. Your vice-captain. Won't make a change of manager mid-season, but no problem shipping the vice-captain off to Spurs for £3 million. To bring back Costas that you've already told wasn't good enough. How on earth are we supposed to believe that this club wants to win right now? Chelsea sacked Maresca. Not good enough apparently. Club World Cup delivered. Europa Conference League delivered. Not good enough. Gone. Amorim, who United again backed hugely in the summer and have gone through managers galore. Gone. Us. It's all gravy. M. Parker said, as a United fan, Slot is Ten Hag and Amorim rolled into one. Slot won last year with a Klopp team. Get rid now. So, at least Amorim went down swinging. And from the point of view of, he stood up, stood his ground and said, this is my way. I believe in my way. Don't like my way. Fire me. So I almost had a begrudging respect for that. Ten Hag, he was delusional. And ironically, we're sitting here now talking about our own Dutch manager or coach in a similar manner. And the things that I, as a Liverpool fan, used to enjoy mocking you, United fans, about, is now happening to our club. And have we learned from it? No. We've learned nothing. Same thing that we've done year on year. When things aren't going well, do we double down and back the manager? Or let the season go? We let the season go. We roll the dice by bringing in Ozan Kabaks, Ben Davies, Arthur fucking Mellows, rather than actually doing what needs to be done. Over and over and over again. All there ever is are excuses. Edwards and Hughes weren't here. It was on Slot and Schmadtke. The contracts are running down. With the highest wage book in the Premier League. And yet we are 6th. 10 points off 3rd. And they still don't think that it's time to pull the trigger and fire the manager. Because it has to get worse. Does the season have to be beyond saving? Denise. Or is it Dennis? Excuse me, Dennis. My apologies. Craig, I'm hurt. The state of the club is in. Actions speak louder than words. It's time to go. Thank you for your hard work as well. Do you know what the hardest part of all of this to me, Dennis, is trying to figure out the wider plan or the thought process from lots of different angles. Like, even if you look at it from a monetary angle, I don't understand taking the risk of not getting Champions League football. There's no way I believe that they really look at him and think that he's turning it round or he's saving it. So I'm truly at a loss to figure out the joined up thinking here as to what it is. And this is uncharted waters for so many of us. Certainly for me, I've never ever called for a Liverpool manager to be fired. I've been very fortunate that since I've been doing this, it was Jurgen Klopp. And obviously, Jurgen Klopp was never going to be in a position where we were going to call for him to be fired. But that's how bad things have gotten so quickly with Arne, is that it's not just me anymore. It's that the majority of the Liverpool fan base. You look at any poll ran on any website and any forum that is dedicated to Liverpool, that is viewed, listened to, posted on by Liverpool fans, and every single one of those fucking polls will show you that they all want the manager gone. So again, what more can we do? Well, we can keep speaking up. Is it going to take them again to be hitting the wallet before they act? I don't want it to get to that point, because then we all lose. No Champions League football, we all lose. Giant Gift said, Craig, we're getting top 4. I think we're talented enough. We're a threat in Europe. And yes, Slot goes in the summer. Well, we're getting top 4. Cool. Are we there now? Are we? Are you confident with Newcastle and Man City coming up? Because I'm not. So I don't know how you can seriously say categorically we're getting top 4. 2 weeks ago, I would have said absolutely most likely we're getting there. Now, hand on heart, I'm probably 50-50. May just edge towards agreeing with you in that we might get there. But I didn't sign up this season as a fan, nor did you, to scrape into the Champions League positions. That's not what this season was supposed to be about. That's not what the building was for. The one thing we wanted not to happen, happened, which is a pathetic title defence. The thing that makes it look like all the people that said that it was the worst season were right. We wanted to stand up and show that it wasn't a fluke, that the club meant business, and that we were here for that era of success that we were all talking about. Now, very quickly, we're all accepting mediocrity. Come on, dude. Bradley said, until Hughes, Edwards are gone, we'll be deliberating this catastrophe. I'll start with Slot being gone, and then we can have the conversations around the rest. Because yeah, look, it isn't all on Slot. I've said this multiple times now, but from a footballing perspective, Slot's the one that's responsible for what's happening on the pitch. So he should be relieved of his duties immediately. But again, they're just causing more harm to their own club, their own fan base, their own bottom line, their own goodwill, all of it, by carrying on, just sticking their fingers in their ears. Right, so we asked, pick one for the job. Enrique, Alonso, or somebody else. We've had 2,600 odd votes, and 60% of you guys and girls went for Mr. Xabi Alonso. Luis Enrique, 34% in second, and somebody else 6%. I'm in the Enrique camp for a number one choice. Xabi Alonso would be right up there as well. But, you know, even if we could get to a point where you, I, and everyone agreed that maybe the coach that you want isn't available right now. So let's say, for argument's sake, you wanted Nagelsmann or anyone that's not available. Even just letting Arne carry on, I don't think is acceptable. Put in an interim manager. Put in somebody that will get the fire back into the players, the belief back into them. Whether that is a Gerrard, a Thiago, a Cout, a Fowler, whoever. Somebody that can come in, maybe a collective of a couple. Get this team filled full of confidence and belief again. Get the fans back on side to get back behind the team. And get the atmosphere right. And let's get back to being what we can be. And stop making excuses for mediocrity. That's I guess, the final words I have for you this evening. Tomorrow, we'll see you 6:45 for the watch-along of the Carabao game. The Reds need a win to guarantee that they will be in those top 8 positions. A draw leaves it a little bit shaky depending on other results. But we do know if we win tomorrow, we are into the top 4 of the Champions League phase, which means we're certainly in the top 8, which means we avoid that playoff round. The draw for the last 16 is going to take place on Friday. So we'll figure all of that one out. But yeah, appreciate you. If you can, before you head off, if you've enjoyed the stream, hit that like button. Don't forget as well, our giveaway. Win a signed Gerrard framed shirt completely free. Just scan the QR code or use the link in the description for further details. Again, massive shout out and thank you to our friends at the Collector's Corner. We will be giving away an item every single month for 2026. On top of that, you get 20% discount of anything you want from the Collector's Corner with the Anfield Agenda discount code, which will all become clear once you enter the competition. Thank you so much, folks, for your time tonight, as always. We'll see you tomorrow. Connor may be here with me tomorrow. I'm not sure if he's staying or not. He's dropping into me tomorrow because we have a bit of stuff to do in the studio. But appreciate you all. Thank you for joining me tonight. Don't back down. Stand up. Have your say. Be heard.